Happy Feel Good Friday. I hope everybody's having a great day. And thank you for joining me for today's pregame preview for the upcoming game against the Saints in week 8 of the NFL season 2023. We're going to start here with the injury reports, the final injury reports for both teams. Looking at who's out for the Saints is going to be guard James Hurst. He didn't practice all week with an ankle injury. He's going to be out. Everybody else that they have here is going to be questionable. That's going to be Jawan Johnson, who's listed as unspecified. Looks like he'll probably be good. He was a full participant in practice on Friday. Landon Young and Ryan Ramczyk, also both full participants, listed as unspecified, but more than likely looks like they're going to be good to go for the upcoming game. Then you start looking at questionable tags, right? You look at JT Gray, limited, did not practice, limited. Gonna have to see about that one. Looks like he might not play in the game on Sunday. Mario Davis also on here, limited in practice all week long, listed as questionable. He's Demario Davis. He's a veteran player. Seems like, if he has something going on, they'll just give him a light workload throughout the week and he'll be good to go on Sunday. I expect him to be in the lineup. Tyrann Mathieu, another one expected to be in the lineup, listed as questionable, but was a full participant in practice on Friday, so he's probably going to be good to go. Then Marcus May, limited, did not practice. So he's got the hamstring injury. He's got the illness. We'll see if he's available. If he's not there, that's going to help the Colts offense out a lot. Marcus May's really good. So him not being there for the Saints would kind of be a big deal. And another one here that we're going to be paying a lot of attention to is Taysom Hill. Has a chest injury, was a limited participant in practice, but might just be another one of those guys that, not only is his role not really big enough to warrant him needing to practice a lot, but he's a veteran player, probably knows the things he's supposed to do well. So go ahead and have him limited, and then he'll be good to go Sunday. But again, if he's not going Sunday, that's one less thing the defense is going to have to worry about. And as we continue to go down here, Jimmy Graham has an illness. He was a limited participant 2 days this week, but I assume he'll probably be good to go by Sunday. And then Andrus Peat was a limited participant Friday with an ankle injury. Definitely going to be keeping an eye on that. This is an injury that happened in practice, so we'll see going into the game. If he's out, that's definitely going to help the defensive line. However, then we move on here to the Colts and over to their injury report. And as expected, Juju Brents and Kylen Granson are both going to be out. Juju with the quad, Kylen with the concussion, but Kylen was able to get back to practice, so he just needs another day of practice, and then he just needs to have the UNC clear him from the concussion protocol, and then he'll be good to go. Juju Brents, coach did say that he doesn't expect the Juju Brents injury to be long-term. So I don't know if that means he's going to be back, next week after the Saints game. We have the Panthers in week 9. Not sure if he'll be back for that game or not, but at the current moment, at least we know this isn't an injury that's supposed to be long-term. Okay, the other guy that's listed as out on here is Braden Smith, out once again with the hip injury that happened in practice a couple weeks ago. I'd love to know what happened there, but he is once again not playing, and hopefully he'll be able to get back for week 9. Week 9, going against Brian Burns, we're going to need Braden Smith back for that game. But as we look on here, we have DeForest Buckner, Ryan Kelly, both got veteran rest days on Friday. Then the guys that are questionable, Eric Johnson was a full participant after not practicing the rest of the week. So it looks like he might actually be good to go. I didn't think so after the first 2 days, but with him being a full participant today, I expect him to be able to get into the lineup this upcoming Sunday. And then Zach Moss did not practice on Wednesday, was a limited participant on Thursday, did not practice on Friday. And this is another one of those things. He might be one of those guys with the way the season's gone, as well as he knows the offense up to this point. Maybe they're just letting him rest and trying to get him into the game as healthy as possible. But for now, he's listed as questionable. If Zach Moss is not able to play in the game on Sunday, then it'll be JT carrying the load like JT used to, and you would have Trey Sermon behind him. They would almost undoubtedly bring up Jake Funk to be the third running back, but I would be surprised if he saw the field. Now, also questionable is Tony Brown with a ribs injury. Did not practice on Friday. Another one of those practice injuries popping up. And with the way the secondary's been over the last few weeks, right, we keep getting these guys hurt. Tony Brown being out would actually be a problem. All right, we have Amir Speed, we have Daryl Baker, right? Like we have a couple guys, but the depth is starting to run out. And we've talked about a lot. If we're in a position where Tony Brown is in the game, we're in trouble. Okay. And if we're in a position where Tony Brown's supposed to be in the game, but he's injured and can't be there, we're screwed. Okay. So hopefully he's able to go. He's really good on special teams. That's a good thing there. He's really good on special teams. But again, with the depth on defense, it is a bit of a problem if he's not going to be playing in the game. Okay, so now to get into how we think this game is going to go and what I think the record prediction is going to be. Okay, so after looking at all the different numbers, looking at who the Saints have played, who the Colts have played, looking at everything, taking everything into account, and the keys to victory here for the Colts, what I've come up with, we got to run the ball. Right, that's what this offense is made to do, is to be able to run the ball, and that's what I think we're going to have to do to win this game. Because right now the Saints are second in the NFL at 5.7 yards per attempt that they're giving up. They're also one of the best teams, maybe the best team in terms of completion percentage, giving up a 57.8% completion percentage. All right, now there is a bit of a disclaimer with that compared to when you go look at their schedule and the quarterbacks that they've had to face. Like, yeah, they haven't had the toughest test in terms of quarterbacks. So that plays into it a little bit, but this is also good defense. Right, that's one thing the Saints have had for a long time is good defense. They've kept a lot of the same guys for the most part, except for on the defensive line. Right, a lot of the guys in the secondary, the linebackers, they've kept a lot of those guys. A lot of veteran guys in the NFL that are really good at their jobs. So it's not going to be an easy task, right? But again, the Colts are the only team in the NFL that has scored 20 plus points every single game. And it doesn't matter what defense you put in front of us. We've played some of the best defenses in the NFL this year. And the Colts still are the only team to put up 20 plus in every single game. Even the debacle in Jacksonville still put up 20 plus by the end of it. So I think the Colts coming into this one, they'll be able to put up points. And the key really for them is going to flip to be on the defense. What can the defense do, right? We know the secondary, how the secondary is, right? We're going to have DJ Baker out there. And if it's not him, it's Amir Speed. But Jalen Jones is good, right? Jalen Jones, Kenny Moore, we can trust them at this point. We just have to worry about the other side of the field. And that's what's going to worry me because the Saints offense has weapons, right? They have Derek Carr. Derek Carr, we play the Raiders every year. So Derek Carr is very familiar with the people on the Colts, right? A lot of our personnel, Derek Carr has seen a lot, all right? But then they have Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Jawan Johnson if he ends up playing in the game. Like, they have the weapons. So if our pass rush isn't getting home in this game, it could end up being a problem. Or we could end up in another one of those games just like last week where we have to keep putting points up if we're going to have any chance to win the game. Now, luckily in this game, I don't think there's a scenario where, I mean, of course, there's a scenario where the Saints could put up a touchdown in this game, right? Gardner Minshew throwing the ball, he throws a pick six, we're in trouble. He fumbles and they scoop it and score, we're in trouble. But honestly, I think in this game, there's less of a chance of that happening than the previous games. So with the Saints defense not putting up points, right? Like, it comes back down to what we continue to talk about, and it's hard not to continue to talk about it. Gardner's 8 turnovers over the last 2 games. If we don't turn the ball over, we're winning football games. And it really is that simple. When you don't make mistakes, like the competition level is so good in the NFL that when you go through each and every single game, pretty much all the time, you're going to find out that the team that lost, they lost that game because they were turning the ball over, or they weren't good on third down and couldn't stay on the field. They weren't able to have explosive plays, right? They had offensive penalties, kill drives, defensive penalties like defensive pass interferences or defensive holdings, which are automatic first downs, right? Neutral zone infractions, automatic first downs, stuff like that. It's usually those kinds of things that are why a team loses rather than like something the other team does, right? And of course, in that conversation, especially this week, you can throw in, refs having their say in the game and the fact that it did come out that the NFL said that both those calls were called wrong. That adds fuel to the fire, you know what I mean, when it comes to all that. But at the end of the day, man, we can't shoot ourselves in the foot. That's what it's going to come down to, is playing clean football. We need Gardner not to turn the ball over. All right. Everybody else, for the most part, does a good job of holding on to the ball. The only other person on the team that I'm really nervous when the ball's in their hands is Isaiah McKenzie. He's already fumbled the ball out of bounds once or twice this year. The last game, he had the ball knocked out of his hands, but he was able to pick it up real quick. Like Isaiah McKenzie makes me nervous, but Gardner Minshew is the one we really have to worry about. And at the end of the day, I think we're going to come into this game like if you're going to do anything on this Saints defense, it's run the ball. They give up 4 yards per carry. And that's the territory. When you get up at 4 yards per carry and above, that's when you're starting to get nervous about your defense. Okay. Because even though the Saints, their third down defense is actually really good, it's at 31%. Whereas the Colts defense, still really good, sitting at 35%. So Saints defense is good on third down. But their yards per carry is sitting at 4. So I think this is a situation where the Colts come in, the Colts try to do what they do, right? Come in, run the ball. Just like Coach always says, throw to score, run to win. You're going to have to run the ball to win this game, right? And if you're able to run the ball, that's where we're going to get into advantageous situations and be able to hit those play actions and get those deep shots, especially with the way Josh Downs has been playing lately. If we can make teams have to respect the run, they have to stack the box in order to stop it, then that's an opportunity to get Josh Downs and then have the ball in his hands. Like that's all you have to do. Just get the ball in his hands. He can get yards after the catch. He can go up and aggressive catch a ball. Like he's fine in coverage, being able to catch with people around him. Like just get the ball in Josh Downs' hands and watch him work. Right. Because right now, I feel like those are the keys to the offense. If you can run the ball and have Josh Downs start to open things up in the pass game, like that combination, that's what's going to start to open up those deeper shots to Michael Pittman or to Alec Pierce. Right. And we've also seen Josh Downs lining up outside Alec Pierce in the slot a little bit over these last couple of weeks. And we're seeing Alec Pierce get the ball, on short, shallow crossers and those shallow drag routes. Like being able to do different things like that for Alec Pierce also, and having the defense having to respect Josh Downs on the outside gives us more options of things we can do. You know what I mean? Josh Downs, again, big part of this offense right now. All the motion he does, all the things he does with the ball in his hands. So we got to get the ball in his hands. We got to have JT do his thing again. Not sure if Zach Moss is going to play. The way the practice report lines up, I feel like there's a good chance Zach Moss not playing. So JT going to be very important. Josh Downs going to be important. And honestly, I think our defense, I think our pass rush is going to get home in this game. Right, we saw it the first couple of weeks when the Colts defensive line was going against some offensive lines that were a little lackluster. We can admit that they were a little lackluster, and Colts had a heyday. I think they're going to be able to do that again. There are a couple games in this season that are kind of holding the Colts sack numbers up, but overall, the Colts are one of the best teams in the league in terms of sacks. I believe we have 20 sacks on the season. That's top 10 in the league. The Saints are bottom 5 in sacks, and I think that's a big deal. All right, the Colts also great against the run. The Saints, even though they have Alvin Kamara, they haven't been great in the run game. Where you see Alvin Kamara doing most of his work is in the pass game. He's gotten a ridiculous amount of catches. So all in all, for our defense, I think that's where we're going to have to focus, right? Don't let him hit the big play, and we need to smother Alvin Kamara. And I think we'll be able to do that. When you look at the linebackers, we have EJ Speed, Zaire Franklin, and then playing in when we're in nickel, right? You're going to see a lot of Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is going to have to deal with Alvin Kamara a lot, and he's a really good open field tackler. He takes down Derrick Henry with no problem. So Alvin Kamara not going to be a problem for Kenny either. So overall, I think the defense, for the most part, going to be able to lock him down. We all know the truth about this Gus Bradley defense and that zone defense, and with the receivers that they have and Derek Carr not being the worst quarterback in the world, they'll be able to do some things on offense. So overall, again, I think the Colts get over 20 points because that's just what we do in Shane Steichen's offense. I think the final score of this game is going to be 30-20 Colts. And it might even be 30-17. Saints might miss a long field goal. But the one I came to, the one I liked the most when I was doing my prediction here was 30-20. And I'd love to know your prediction for this game. You let me know down in the comment section. Let me know how you think this game is going to go. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that sub button, and keep notifications on. We have videos every single day on this channel. So make sure you're subscribed with the notifications on so you get notified when all those videos do come out. And I appreciate you joining me for today's pregame preview. I hope you enjoy the rest of this Feel Good Friday. With that said, as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.